Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? Woo! It's been a interesting weekend, to say the least.
Hello, everyone.
Everything that's going on here in the United States, amongst things. But of course, tonight's session, we're gonna be wanting to talk to y'all about the Black community as a whole, community in general. Where we stand, how things are going with you in your community. Are you building relationships with
Are
those?
you engaging?
Are you talking with your elders about things that happened when they were getting older? Are you talking with your brothers and sisters showing love in the Black community?
Are you taking responsibility within yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Are you making things happen?
Right. Also, are you uplifting the youth?
Yes.
Giving them, putting them on your shoulders.
It's our chance to start over,
raising
clean
them
slate.
Up. Yes, 2019.
You can't say you don't know anymore. There's too much knowledge out there now.
Yes.
It's time to make a change. Time to make a change.
Is. We got to do it, y'all. We got to do it. Yes. And of course, the music coming live from Jaheim.
Yes, fabulous.
Fabulous. That's what we are.
That's what we are.
Truly, we are fabulous people. So, one real quick start. First and foremost, I like to say, I'm your boy, Chauncey Anderson. Welcome to the T. And
I'm your co-host, Mayaka Anderson. Welcome.
Looking as beautiful as ever. Look at that. Yeah, I call her my B. Look at her. Look at her. She be buzzing, y'all. She just be buzzing. No, but she good people. Love her dearly. Yeah, we had a great weekend. It was a lot of, in our household, I must tell you, working with the federal government, there was a little bit of angst, anxiety. A lot of folks that I work with, having to go to work, the fact that you don't get paid.
Yes.
You doing what you do. Tonight, we thought today's session would be about community, because that really, when you have situations like that, it really make you, one, look inwardly, because this household, this is our community.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Starts here.
Starts here. So we got to have harmony and we got to have balance. And then for the session, I decided to see what the community aspect is like. Basically, doing some research. Again, going to my favorite website, blackdemographics.com. I like to give them a shout out. They do some awesome research.
Yes, they do.
Awesome work.
Yes, their work is not going in vain. We enjoy it quite a bit.
Not by any stretch of imagination. So by putting them on the map, I just started looking, on the United States as a whole regionally.
Yes.
Seeing where our people were at. In the region, if you look at it, it's statistically broke down. It says in the South, there are basically 55% of African Americans in the United States live in the South. Basically, that is 25 million people.
Okay, 25 million.
Look at the South. I mean, and that covers from Texas to Louisiana to Mississippi, Florida, all that. It goes all the way up to Tennessee. It's kind of like the South.
So y'all there, fam.
That's
y'all are representing big time in those areas in the South.
Yep. Now, when you get to the Midwest, our community of folks, African American people, Midwest represents 17%, and that's about 8 million. You're talking about Missouri, you're talking about Illinois, Indiana, all those great areas up in that spot.
I think those places, they're concentrated in one spot in those different states. Yeah. Totally spread out.
They say in the state, but then when you have to look into the cities, based on the rural and rural areas compared to concentrated areas, let's say like Chicago compared to some areas that are further out.
Right.
But you can go on to again, another plug for blackdemographics.com.
Yes.
And they break it out by state, and then you can click from state to city. And you can
see what's going on in your area.
That whole is, and it just gets deeper and deeper. And like I said, the research was on. But when you start looking at the Northeast, like in your Maine, your Boston, your New York, places like that, it's about 18%. right there. It's about 8 million up in that demographic in the Northeast area. And then the last one is basically the West Coast.
Yeah.
You know, West. From the Pacific Northwest all the way down here where we live at San Diego, in California, Arizona, places like that, a little bit out towards Nevada. That is only 10%, basically 4.8 million.
And we're spread out.
Truly.
We are spread out.
And I mean, just like in San Diego County itself, there's only 158,000.
Yeah. And we hard to find out here, fam.
Oh, yeah. When
we are hard to find in San Diego.
Diamond in the rough.
Yes.
Ain't you my friend?
There ain't much going on out here for the Black community. And it's very spread out. And there's a lot of, you're either really young or you're retired or older. That middle group, I don't know where we are there. Well, our age, we're still trying. We've been here 2 years and still trying to really gather. Figure out where we are.
It is. I mean, my workplace, you see, it's like salt and pepper, man. You see a sprinkle of it. And so that as far as the community is concerned, I mean, you have to be mindful. You have to use wisdom. You have to use, your God-given ability, definitely be in the spirit. When you do maybe say hello or communicate with another person, especially African American, you that's wise as a whole with all ethnicity, all backgrounds.
Right, that's true.
Because our people have, kind of this weird feeling about what do you want to call it? Trusting each other.
Yes.
You build a relationship when it comes to that. And some of these regions that have more, people that you see them a lot more in your New York City, things like that. It's like you just bump into them every day. I mean, up in Los Angeles, it's Black population is highly concentrated.
Yes, definitely.
Where we came from in Seattle, I mean, different cities, it's a lot of Blacks in that area. But what about Alaska? When you was up in Alaska,
I tell you, I've seen more Blacks in Alaska than I have here in San Diego. It's hard to find them here in San Diego. I was really shocked, especially it being California. I would think that we would be more easily found down here and more going on, but that's not true for Southern California, as you would think it would be. And
why do you think that is, though?
I don't know.
The 2 years that we've been here, why do you think?
Number one, I think it's very expensive to live here.
Okay.
So if you do not have a real good job, I just don't see how you can continue to live here being young and coming up, unless your family owned a home and they were able to pass that on to you, or you're still at home, or I just think it's very expensive here. And there's other places we can make our money last than living here. It's beautiful, but it is expensive, and the taxes are outrageous. So I think it's harder for younger people to build families here. And I think over the time, maybe people just kind of decided that there's better options.
Their time, and so they gonna go where their dollars will stretch farther.
Yes, stretch further. I think that's basically why.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, like I say again, we moved down here as far as work was concerned, really. Truly, like when we got here 2 years, I mean, my mindset and sitting down, talking to Maya, looking at a lot of different things in our financials, just what we want to do if we're going to be here. We found it necessary to own a home.
It is necessary. There's no rent control here.
No.
So what they're asking for rent is,
you can buy a mortgage.
You can definitely afford a mortgage. If you can rent, you can afford a mortgage.
We decided that we would still meet with, as many, people of the Black community as we could. Yes. We go to a lot of events.
We drive quite far to go to events. I mean, 2 hours to mingle with our people, to go to things, So we purposely go out to do this. We haven't really found much of anything in our community. So we do have to drive out and make an effort to commune with our own and break bread.
Yeah. And it's not like we don't like other people. Trust, do, believe. I mean, that's socializing, truth be told. But again, the T was created specifically for the Black community. Yes. So that's who we speak to. That's what we talk to about our experiences.
That's what we know. We've been in this skin for a long time and we are experts in this.
They got up melanated.
If nothing else, we are expert in this.
And we love it. And we love to see our people.
Yes. We need our people. We need each other. So you can't just alienate yourself. You do need to be around your people.
Yeah, exactly.
You do.
Because, something about it. When you're like-minded, it builds upon.
Yes.
You get encouraged.
Your experiences are the same.
Yeah,
I just love it. Yeah, you can look at each other and communicate without saying a word.
Exactly.
That kind of feeling.
People don't want to cut your hair.
Yeah, we all been through the same things, and we understand. We understand our language, our body language. We understand it all, and it's just easier. You don't have to explain yourself.
No, and even though, and that's the biggest encouragement. And I think the other biggest thing, and the next thing that I definitely took a look at, again, plugging blackdemographic.com, is the Black church.
Yes.
An aspect of spirituality, one that we as a Black people, we are, I would say, the most spiritual people on the face of this planet. Though we may not be able to truly let out our culture,
right?
How our ancestors communed, with the Creator. You call it God, you call it Christ,
right?
All of that, Muslim, you name it. If you of this skin color,
yes,
your ancestors came from Africa, and the way that they used to give praise and reverence to the Creator. I mean, people thought we praised many of gods,
right?
And it wasn't. We just communed with nature. And the number one thing that we do here, since our ancestors touched this soil,
right,
coming from slavery, we still communed. Our ancestors would commune down in the bush,
right,
where the slave masters didn't want you to have any type of word. We would sing hymnals while we was picking cotton.
Yes.
We would beat the drum.
Yes.
As a formal way to let you know that we're gonna be running away tonight. They didn't know that, but we knew what that drum beat was all about.
Meant. Yes.
And therefore, as the Black church has, it
is our foundation here.
It
is one thing that it is. Whether you believe in Christianity, whether you believe what the Black church is doing to this day, the truth is, it is the root system for all of us. We've all come through it. We all know it. Our grandparents were part of it. I mean, we all know that culture. We understand it if we was to share something with another. So, I believe that the church is definitely the root system for us. And it's the fastest way to gather people of our kind. If you can't find your people, the one place you can do is look for. You will be able to find
right there
your people.
But the fascinating part about what I was going to say again, right at blackdemographic.com, it says here that this was in 2007. The Pew Research did a study. They said 87% of African American people have a religious affiliation.
Yeah, that's high
compared to only 83% of all other Americans.
Right.
In relationship to it. They also went on to say that 79% of Americans versus 56% of all other Americans say religion is very important to them. So that's where I was going with the community. That's the fascinating part, because we have all of these churches in our Black communities.
We can start a church real quick.
But our community, if we went inside the church compared to when you come outside of the church and how our community look, you see how the church look, both on the exterior and when you go inside of it.
Yes.
And how it is totally, I mean, some of them are just like awe-inspiring. You like, wow, they really did it big.
Yeah.
But when you come outside of that church and you go back into your community, what does that community look like?
Yes.
Does it reflect that same spiritual aspect that is in
that
us?
Same feeling when you walk out and have to walk back home on those sidewalks, past your neighbor's house, those lawns, those parks, do you even have parks?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. What is going on when you leave that church, that community? Because the church is your community also. Yeah. Does it flow out of the building?
Which makes you feel safe.
Exactly.
We feel safe when we walk into the church. We know who the mothers, we know who the fathers, we know the patriarchs and the matriarchs.
And we speak and we smile and we hug and we just spread the love and you in there and it's just nothing but love.
Right there.
Yeah, nothing but love.
But when we walk outside of that,
that's where the problem is. That's almost like the community ends at that church
it's like
step, that last step.
Another water's edge moment.
Yeah, you walk across.
And it's that's the part that's so shocking.
Yeah.
Because you can go to a Jewish community with their temples and their synagogues. When they walk out of there, they got a community center where the kids can play.
The kids can go.
Was saying,
they got the daycares, the parks.
They got care of each other. As long as you doing what you're
supposed to be doing,
you are
part of that community.
But when you get outside of it,
they wash their hands of you and have no problem doing it. And nobody else in the community will come and be like, you shouldn't do that. That ain't loving. If you don't want to do what's right, that's fine. But you're not going to taint this community. You're not going to taint what we have worked hard for and have done and put a stain on us. And we're the only people that will do that.
We'll allow not only our own people, we'll allow other people
come in and wreck shop and then look at each other like, how that happened. But then you got others saying, well, you gotta love. Yes, you do. But you have to protect yourself.
I mean,
because if you don't, you'll never have anything to give, and you will never aspire to be any better than what you are.
And all we keep saying is that Jesus died for your sins. And as long as you believe, I think Jesus is no longer that baby in that crib, personally.
Yes.
And I think he wants us to become mature.
Yes.
See, because we keep falling back on that like we always sinning.
Yes.
It gets to a point
where you just have to stop.
Grow up.
At what point do you stop and take inventory of yourself and say it starts with me? We, nowadays we got this conversation going on about R. Kelly and pedophiles. And so we always got something that's separating us. We are January 2019. And what do? Driving an even bigger wedge in between us. For we will never come together on this subject because you have different people who have different feelings. Well, let's get together on a subject that's going to make a difference in all of our lives. Our economic power, our political power. Let's get together and decide how we're going to raise our kids properly and take responsibility. These little back and forths about stuff that's not even putting money in your pocket, food on your table. It makes no sense. And then it's dividing us even further. Just when we thought we were coming together, some kind of crazy story comes up and now we're all divided, bickering and fighting.
And Lifetime has got the ratings out the century.
And
that's what they're looking for. They will look for any way that they can
to help cause that division.
Keep control.
And we just eat
of what
into
we're supposed to be doing. This again is the month of January of 2019.
And this is where we're at, y'all. R. Kelly and everybody else and whatever, pedophiles, whatever. Wrong is wrong. And the truth is, and I know people will get mad at me, but let me tell you, the truth is these pedophiles have been in the Black community a long time. If you talk to your grandma, your great grandma, somebody got a story of a pastor who got some 13-year-old pregnant. Now. Somebody got an uncle who had to had to send off your kids to have a baby, and then your auntie, had to raise them. We've had this problem a long time, and we have not addressed it. And the only reason it's even being blown up now, and look how long it took for R. Kelly to even come to, everybody had these stories, but it took till 2019 for someone to do something about it. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Our morals and our values and our standards, we need to do better because it's ridiculous. And now we want to call each other out on this tit for tat. This has been going on.
I'm saying, what does it gain? Once it has been put out there,
what does it gain? Our division.
Because are we going to continue in the same way, or as a community, are we going to start setting the standards?
That's right.
Where things come at. Are you going to be able to talk to your sister that may be affected? But how can we do this? How can we are you going to be able to talk to your brother who may be feeling down about that? Another type of situation. Are you going to be able to come and show some love and to lift him up?
And it's all about experiences, y'all. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you experience. And then move on, accept it and move on. Say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I hate to hear that. And then, you know, hopefully they get the help they need or whatever side or whatever. But we need to move on and we need to do better things than what we're doing right now. This is not doing anything
I mean, it's
for
even
us.
showing. I mean, yet and still, our children act out in the same manner by which they see. Now, when they're babies, you ain't got none but love for them, and you will want nothing to happen to them. Right. But as they do get older and they start to emulate what it is that you're doing
in your home,
and they go out there because there is no form of discipline because you have become nothing more than just a friend.
Yes.
Someplace they get a meal from. And beyond that, that's about all she wrote. It.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, somebody else is out there with them.
Yes.
You know, engaging them, telling them, provoking them to do things. So hopefully it's good, but 99.9% of the time in our community, it's going to be bad. And
99% of the time, it's all about the dollar too.
That's it.
A lot of us in the community will do anything or allow things to be done to us.
Right.
For $1.
$1. And
I've seen it way too much in my life. And if you read the stories that go by, you know there's always money involved. Whether it's a funeral, come on, y'all got families out there that ain't spoken to anybody since 1970 something over a funeral because somebody didn't have the money to pay, didn't want to pay, didn't show, didn't do. Instead of showing the love and just walking away, that person didn't live their life to take care of you in the end in that kind of way. Right. And so, you know, I think the dollar is I don't know what it is with our mindset where we got to spend the money to look good, even though we're broken down people and we're hurting inside. I don't know why you are willing to give up the value of yourself to a man or a woman and get nothing in return. I don't know why we do the things we do in our mindsets in that, but I do know that we need to recognize who we are and to start to change that in each individual.
Well, it's the cornerstone. I mean, if we get, again, you go back to the church, and if we would but look at it and begin there, irrespective of how you do it,
true.
How you do it is accountability. And when you allow those men and those women that may be in the lead, if they're not doing what's right, still and remain in those positions of power, and because they should have people that they're accountable to.
That's right. They should
that keep balances on them. It's just like our form of government.
Yes.
You know,
that is true.
You allow that to get so out of control to the extent that person just soon enough say, hey, he don't have to listen to what they say. They are the ones that did it.
Yes.
You know, they don't even thank the creator any longer.
Yes.
It was by what they did that brought that, you know,
that brought that about
congregation and made it as big as it is. If it wasn't for them, would none of it be? We see it time and time again.
Yes, because the church has now become, you know, a dating spot, and they give out dating information and how to do that. That's what their sermon's about. Prosperity, because everybody's supposed to be rich, right? Yeah, that was promised somewhere.
But they ain't talked about rich. How you go about doing it.
It's everything but the word of God, which really changes who you are and how you live. And if you start to see how you change for the good on how you live and inside, it reflects the community. If a pastor has 1,000 people in his congregation, 1,000 people can be powerful if they're all being changed from the inside, because they're going to start to reflect the outside. And then the community starts to look different because they start to touch and minister, which that is what is supposed to happen. They go out, they touch, they minister, and light opens up in someone else, and the community starts to blossom. You have to wonder what is being taught in your community and at your church, that when you walk out, all you see is death and destruction in your community. What is really going on? That doesn't reflect a good community. And you're sitting there going to church every Sunday. That don't sound right to me.
Giving your tithes, giving your offerings, doing all that
you can do.
But yet and still, almost what ends up happening in the long run, because so many stay at that one spot or at that place for such a long time.
Yes.
Then when you become an elder and you have need where you can no longer do it because you are relying upon the things that were being taught.
To happen to you.
You know that doesn't happen, but now you're missing your tithes and you're missing your offering.
And people being called out.
They are not only called out, but they're being put out the church.
Isn't that crazy? You done gave service like almost like you retired in the church, and you gotta pay to have a memorial service in your church you've been a member of for 30 years, paying your tithes, going to every usher meeting and women's group meeting and men's group meeting, and then at the end, the family got to pay all this money just to have a memorial service for you in there. And I'm like,
it makes no sense.
It is ridiculous. You are part of that family.
But that's community. That gets back to community. When it is as such as that, that's what really makes us, compared to any other ethnicity, look as if we're out of our minds. We've lost our minds.
We've lost our minds. Yeah.
Because you go to an Asian community, and when those elders do things and when someone should pass, they have done a great thing in that community. Oh yeah, all come together for that.
Oh
purpose.
Yes.
In the white community, literally they will shut it down. They will. The Bush,
and even in
they called it a national community.
Holiday. I just think it's amazing. You got an elder; they make sure they don't work, and then all the family members have to bring a certain amount of their paycheck of money to that elder so that they can continue to live, and they take care of them. I'm like, that is love,
because
is love.
That's a tradition within theirs. That's what I'm saying about our community. We have gotten away from our culture, our traditions.
Yeah.
And I hit one from the standpoint of our greatest generation to our silent generation of our elders. They have almost all of them are gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So those traditions haven't been passed down. No one else has taken those and passed them down. Let's say to the baby boomers.
Right.
And the baby boomers have been quiet about it here. And here we are, we're the Generation Xers, and we're having this discussion right here to try to say that culture should be brought back.
Right. And we're not the only ones that feel this way. There's a lot that feel this way, that we do need to get back to our roots, what we know, not what we've been taught, but what we know. From our past and what was given to us, what we can remember that is good, not what seems right to our mind, but what is good, and what you can, if you put it out there, it will come back to you and prosper somewhere in your life. And that's what we need.
And then you just start moving and doing those things. And it doesn't happen overnight, because like if you even plant a seed, that's what comes about. You have to nurture it. You have to be consistent about those things.
Yes.
And you have to make sure that you don't let no harm come to any of that within your community.
That's right. And into your household.
Both to the men as well as the women.
And the women.
Our children are the biggest things that we should be protecting and watching over.
That's right. You should be willing to die.
Brothers should be getting together and saying, hey, this is how we're going to protect our community.
Yes.
We ain't letting those drugs. We're not letting that foolishness. Everything we do may be in moderation.
That's right.
But when it comes to this community, I wish that if in every state, we know there's a Dr. Martin Luther King Street. And we know that street right there itself runs through the Black community. It's like the main vein.
Always.
If there's a metropolitan area, there's a Dr. Martin Luther King. And if we would start right there and say, this is our community, and you start and you take a look around.
Yes.
You need to go about cleaning that up.
Yeah.
Why is it the Arab that's owning that store, that gas station, when it should be? I'm sure in the past it was our ancestors that owned that gas station. Going to your city council, finding out what's going on up in there.
What's coming to your community.
If it ain't looking like you, ain't looking like us,
you don't want it.
We need to go ahead and get.
You need to figure out whatever you need in your community. You need to find out how y'all can come together and get that need met.
And if you can't go to your church and talk to your pastors about, we break bread every Sunday over here, but this is what it's looking like, that you might want to open up those books, because it's a nonprofit. They don't get taxed. So we will until you do right by us, we're gonna stop this.
That's right.
Because apparently they spending that money elsewhere but in the community. I bet you if you go ask if there's a benevolence in your church, I bet it ain't.
No. What happened to benevolence? I haven't heard of that in a while.
By the wayside.
Yes, it sure did.
And like I say again, they say that they come to you when they want an offering.
Yes.
When they want that tithe. But when you go to the church
and you have a need, where
they tell you to go pray about it.
Yeah, go pray about it.
So that would be mine in that regard. I mean, I ain't got nothing. This is our temple right here. And we ain't got no problem with going sitting in church, giving an offering and praising and worshiping with them. But in your mind, once you get your mind right and you understand what that thing has become.
That's right.
When they are making over $420 million annually in a black church,
it's time
where's that money going to?
Hold them accountable.
Where is
I'm
the
tired
money
of
going
hearing,
to?
well, Jesus knows that they're not doing right. No. Hold them accountable. You have the power.
So
he has entrusted you with the power. You can call and go up there and say, where is this money going from? Don't let people play games on you. And you can do it in a loving way.
Truly.
You ain't got to be all off kilter about it, but you can put the pressure on. Yes.
And I know we went over a few seconds long on this one.
Yes.
Do want to tell you guys, it's 2019.
That's right, 2019.
We love you guys, and we're going to be coming every Sunday. We're going to be doing what's right.
Stop being distracted.
In our black community, that's what she said.
We got some work to do. Stop being distracted.
Next week is a whole nother topic, whole nother session.
All right, y'all.
Be good.
We love you. Bye.